All right, everyone. So we're going to get into part two for today. This is Sunday, the January 19th. And we just talked a second ago about reevaluating our goals for the week. But now I want to deal with catching up on some of the topics that I missed last week. And I want to get back to part two of how to change your mentality from that of a victim to being that of a victor. So those are terms that I've come up with, and I want to explain a little bit more what I mean. Let me define what a victim is. Oftentimes when we think of a victim, we think of somebody who has been a victim of an injustice or a crime or some abuse that maybe has been done to them, and that's not primarily what I want to concern myself with in this particular video. When I talk about a victim, I'm talking about somebody who's living in a mentality of thinking that they're victim to their circumstances, that life is running and they're just trying to catch up, and life goes where it wants to go, and you're always behind. As one friend put it, it's like we're running fire brigade all the time. You're always running, trying to put out fires because you can never get caught ahead. So you end up having to deal with things later than sooner. And so we want to change that mentality. And especially when it comes to our own life, when we're dealing with habit changes, there's a small little change that we need to make in our thinking that will help us in that process. So let me define what a victim is, what I'm referring to in the context of habit change. A victim is somebody who lives by their feelings. Now, that may be a radical thought for you, and we want to find a balance in that. We are emotional people, and emotions really drive a lot of what we do. And that can be a really positive thing. It can be a very negative thing. Emotions can be very positive. They can sometimes cause us to be more confident than we should be in a situation, or to feel more secure or exuberant about a situation than we should. Emotions can also cause us to feel unrealistically negative about a situation, and they're not really necessarily founded on facts. And so this is where emotions are something we have to contend with. They make life rich, dynamic, and interesting, but at the same time, we don't want to let them run the train. They're not the engine. They're the second car, maybe the third car. So the first thing that needs to run is certain core values, healthy thoughts, truisms in our life. These are the things we want to live by, and our feelings come behind that. And a lot of us don't think about this, but when you really stop and you start to watch yourself, and this is why I want you to start developing awareness. If you really start to watch yourself, you'll notice how much you're driven by your feelings. I'm happy, so everything's great. I'm sad, now everything's bad. I remember what somebody did to me, now I'm mad. And so I'm mad about the situation. Well, let me say I've had a positive experience. Well, now I'm happy. I'm not thinking about being mad anymore. I don't care about it. And so we often just kind of go on this roller coaster of feeling, and it can be and it's not the same for everyone. Some people feel feelings more intensely than others. And so that's where our goals have to be different and our struggles are different. But a victim is when we're just always running behind how we feel, and we feel like if we could just change our environment and our circumstances, then that would change my feelings. And we want to recognize that we need to flip that around. Our circumstances don't dictate who we are. Our feelings don't dictate who we are. The truisms in our life determine who I am as a person. What are those truisms? Well, that's going to be specific to your situation, but in general, we are a human person, a human being, a value. We have freedom to be an individual. We have rights to be respected. We have rights to an opinion. We have rights to be humble, to acknowledge when we're wrong. We have the ability, and we have the right to be able to calmly respond to a situation. These are all capabilities that we have. We're able to think and evaluate through things. And so those are some truisms and some values that we want to cultivate in our life as we're on this journey, and to recognize that, hey, every time maybe I feel like I want to buy something, or maybe I want to eat something, or maybe I want to say something, I don't necessarily have to do that just because I feel it. Let me stop and think about, okay, if I make this decision, what's going to happen down the road? Is this the decision that I really want to make? And I know this may sound really simple for some people, and We may do it really well in some areas of our life and not so well in other areas of life. I know some people, when it comes to like their money management, they're really good. Like they make wise business decisions and they know how to make a lot of money quickly. But when it comes to like their relationships, they can really bumble things up because they're just living by their feelings. And so we want to try to get this in every area of our life, or it may be, maybe they're good in the money and they're good with the relationships, but they're really poor in their health. When it comes to eating, they just eat whatever they want. And so it's different for different people. And so we want to become aware of that. And the key is we're not trying to control ourselves. We don't try to moderate our behavior and our feelings by creating rules for ourselves. If we do that, you're going to put yourself in an impossible grumpy box. You're just going to be in the grumpy box. Let's just put it simple. You're going to be miserable because you're trying to control moderate your behavior from outside. And what you have to do is you have to transform your behavior from within inside. And how that comes is you have to start changing what you want to do by reminding yourself of the outcomes that you want to experience. So this video is getting a little bit long, but I really want you to grasp this concept, and we'll continue it in the future. So what I want you to become aware of is the decisions you're making. Are they based on how you feel, or are they based on core values and principles that you want to live by? You may be tempted to have an outburst of anger at the person who cuts you off in traffic. Is that the kind of person you want to be? Just because you feel it, just because they're a dangerous idiot of a driver, perhaps, to say, who cuts you off, and maybe they deserve your wrath and fire down, to be called down upon them. But just because you feel that and maybe feel partly justified in feeling that, you don't need to express it, because maybe that's not the person you want to be. Maybe that's not going to help the situation. Maybe that's not going to help you reach your goals. Maybe you have a family member who's irritating you. Do you want to damage that relationship just so that you can have the satisfaction of chewing them out? Or do you want to build healthy bridges and maybe help pull them into a healthier perspective? When you're walking through the store and you're shopping, do I really want to buy that particular item of food because, man, it sure tastes good and I really like it and I feel like I deserve it right now? And you probably do, but is it going to be the decision, is that a decision that's coming from, like, hey, I'm in control of myself and of my desires, and you know what, I'm going to eat this, or no, you know what, I don't really need this because this is not going to help me reach my health goals. This is not going to give my body the nutrition it needs to be able to be the person that I want to be. And so those are the things you have to evaluate, and you have to just ask yourself hard questions. But this is a part of taking control of your life, and it's incredibly rewarding and fulfilling when you begin to experience it and you begin to realize, wait a minute, I can walk into any situation and I don't ever have to feel caught off guard because I'm in control of how I feel. And that is going to apply whether you're dealing with insecurities or whether you're dealing with anger issues, whether you're dealing with temptations, with lusts, with appetites, whatever it is in your life. This is going to help you when you realize, you know what, I can decide what I do, what I don't do. And just because I want, and I just really, I really want it, just because you really want it doesn't mean you have to have it, because there's something bigger and better that you're aiming for. So think on those things, and we'll see you next time.